Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a timeless story that holds a powerful lesson about teamwork, empathy, and the consequences of our choices. It's a classic tale you might have heard before, but let's explore its deeper meaning together. This is the story of the donkey and the horse. Once upon a time, in a bustling town, lived a merchant. This merchant relied on two loyal animals to run his business: a sturdy, hard-working donkey and a magnificent, proud horse. Every single morning, the merchant would prepare for his journey to the market. He would carefully stack heavy, bulky bags of good spices, textiles, and all sorts of wares onto the donkey's back. The load was always immense, pressing down on the small but resilient creature. And the horse, well, the horse had a much easier task. His only job was to carry the merchant himself. He would trot along, his coat gleaming in the sun, feeling quite pleased with his lighter responsibility. This was their daily routine. The donkey would plod along, step by patient step, while the horse pranced ahead, unburdened and carefree. But one scorching hot day, the journey felt especially long. The sun beat down relentlessly, and the road was dusty and steep. The donkey, who was already carrying an exceptionally heavy load, began to feel his strength failing. His legs started to tremble, and each step became a monumental effort. He could feel his heart pounding in his chest, and sweat dripped from his brow. He looked ahead at the horse, who was walking with an easy, untroubled gait, and decided he had to ask for help. Gathering what little energy he had left, the donkey called out in a weary voice, "Dear friend, my dear horse, please, I am so incredibly tired today. The sun is harsh, and this weight, it feels heavier than ever before. My legs are shaking, and I'm afraid I won't be able to go on for much longer." He took a deep, ragged breath and continued, "Could you possibly help me? If you could just take one or two of these bags, it would make all the difference. I fear that if you don't help me, I am going to collapse right here on this road." The donkey's plea was genuine, filled with desperation and exhaustion. He wasn't asking for the horse to take his entire burden, just a small part to help him survive the journey. He looked at his companion, hoping for a bit of compassion, but the horse, hearing the donkey's plea, just flicked his ears back in annoyance. He tossed his head high, a smug and arrogant look in his eyes. He snorted loudly and replied with disdain, "That's your job, not mine. The master assigned those bags to you. My duty is to carry our master, and that's all. Why should I take on your work? I won't help you." He turned his head away, dismissing the donkey's desperate request without a second thought. To the horse, their roles were clearly defined and separate. He felt no sense of shared responsibility or empathy for his struggling companion. It simply wasn't his problem. The poor donkey's heart sank. He had hoped for a little kindness, a little teamwork, but he received only cold indifference. With no other choice, he lowered his head and forced himself to keep walking, his body screaming in protest with every single step. They continued their journey under the blazing afternoon sun. The air was thick with heat, and the road seemed to stretch on forever. For the horse, it was just another day. But for the donkey, it was a living nightmare. The weight on his back felt like a mountain, and the horse's cruel words echoed in his mind, adding emotional weight to his physical burden. He tried to keep going, putting one foot in front of the other, but his vision started to blur. His legs trembled more violently now, and his breathing became shallow. He stumbled once, then twice, barely catching himself. Finally, after a few more agonizing steps, the donkey's body could take no more. His legs gave out completely, and with a final heartbreaking sigh, he collapsed onto the dusty road and lay still. The poor, overworked donkey was gone. The merchant, who had been riding comfortably on the horse, felt the sudden halt. He dismounted quickly and rushed to the donkey's side, but it was too late. His faithful, hard-working animal was gone. The merchant was filled with a deep sadness and regret. He knelt beside the donkey for a moment, mourning the loss of a creature that had served him so well for so long. But the market was still miles away, and the goods had to be delivered. The merchant knew he couldn't just leave everything behind. So, with a heavy heart, he began the difficult task of moving the load. He untied the ropes, and one by one, he took all the heavy bags of goods from the donkey's still back. And where did he put them? He heaved each and every bag onto the horse. The proud horse, who had refused to carry even one small bag to help his friend, now found his own back piled high with the entire crushing load. But that wasn't all. The merchant, not wanting to leave the donkey's hide behind, skinned the poor animal and placed the heavy, cumbersome skin right on top of the enormous pile of goods. The horse staggered under the sudden, overwhelming weight. It was far heavier than anything he had ever been asked to carry. The load was immense, awkward, and suffocating. As the horse struggled to take his first steps under this new, terrible burden, a wave of regret washed over him. The weight on his back was immense, but the weight on his conscience was even heavier. He let out a long, sorrowful sigh, the sound full of misery and he thought to himself, "Oh, how foolish I was. How incredibly foolish and selfish." The memory of the donkey's desperate plea for help came flooding back. "If only I had listened," the horse lamented. "If only I had shown a little kindness. If I had just taken 1 or 2 small bags when my friend asked, he might still be alive and walking beside me now, and I would not be forced to carry this entire heavy burden, plus the weight of his very skin, all by myself." In that moment of suffering, the horse finally understood the lesson he had refused to learn earlier, that helping others is often the same as helping yourself. His pride and selfishness had not only led to the demise of his companion, but had also brought a far greater hardship upon himself, and so the horse had to complete the rest of the long, arduous journey alone, carrying a burden made so much heavier by his own unkindness. The story ends there, but its message is one that stays with us. It's a powerful reminder that we are all connected. Sometimes a small act of kindness or a willingness to share a load can prevent a much larger tragedy. When we refuse to help those around us, we might find that their burden eventually becomes our own, and often in a much heavier form. It teaches us the importance of empathy, teamwork, and looking out for one another. A burden shared is a burden halved, but a burden ignored can multiply. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. I hope it gave you something to think about. What did you take away from the tale of the donkey and the horse? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss our next story. Until next time, take care and be kind to one another.